All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. What's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Y'all is really cool. I don't know if you can hear. It sounds like extra loud. Ha, 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 ha. Check, check, check. I can't tell. Check, check. This is not the gain. That's not the gain. This is the gain. I don't know what this is. I'm doing something. Okay, that's a little better. You probably hear the rain in the back. It's coming down like crazy. today has been non-stop. We're live on Rockfin, Rumble, and on YouTube. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things. But yeah, there's a atmospheric river, as there is every year now. Several. We had, I don't know, last year I think we had like 15. Set some kind of record last year for atmospheric rivers. But I think in the last like 3 or 4 years, it's been a more common occurrence, the atmospheric river, or what they called the Pineapple Express. But we get more of them. We get more of them every winter, and they seem to be more severe every winter. I wonder why that is. I don't know. Just can't figure it out. Scientists are baffled and confused, taken aback, perplexed. Let's see. I didn't have enough time to really like put everything where I wanted it. And anyways, we'll just go for what we know. This is in Donner Summit, California. Life-threatening travel conditions on I-80. And I said this last year. Don't be on the roads when stuff like this happens. But people do it anyways. I guess they got places to go and people to see and all that kind of good stuff. At some point, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I understand it. I've been driving through weather before, and I had to be somewhere. But having to be somewhere doesn't really take precedence over, not dying. So there's that. Also in Bali, they're getting it. They're getting the weather slap down by the weather. Heavy rainfall, damaging homes and trapping 7 foreign tourists. Floodwater has reached 70 to 75 centimeters in affected areas. And also Italy. Extremely critical situation at Porto Ferraio. Yikes. Well, this will mess you up. This will mess up your day. Oops. Are you guys not seeing this? I'm sorry. Whoops. It's totally not showing this. That'll mess up your day. You guys didn't see the other one, too. Hold on. This is the Bali floods. Didn't realize I wasn't showing these. This is Donner Pass. Donner Summit. And record snow coming down, or forecast for the weekend. I don't know if it's record snow, but a lot of snow. Several feet of snow. All right. Well, we're it is interesting. Elon Musk's kid was in the White House saying all kinds of stuff. It's interesting. I don't know what he said seemed to like Kids say the darndest things, and they can oftentimes, you know, they can tell the truth about things that others might only think or understand, but yes, cannot uh, articulate out loud. Anyways, I mean, this is funny. He says, "I want you to shush your mouth" to Trump. You can barely hear it though.
And their prices from one year to the next are the same. And they're
Trump's like, huh? Trump's just like, I hate this kid. And then the kid goes on to say, "You're not the president." Oh, who is the president, by the way? He was a cute kid. He was pretty cute. And kids just, they don't have any social filters or anything or social wherewithal whatsoever. So they're gonna do stuff like whatever. But it's kind of funny. He said, "You're not the president." So, but it's funny because I don't know. A lot of people were saying like Biden is obviously not the president when he was president. Obviously, he wasn't in charge. And Trump certainly seems more in charge, but you have to wonder, right? Here's Elon Musk standing behind Trump, making a speech on what's going on. And Trump's just kind of like, all right. It's still Joe Biden. But, the theory that the politicians are only just the managers for the what does Garland Nixon call them? The board of directors or something like that. Garland Nixon has a name for. He's like, there's the people that actually run things are somewhere else. They're not in Congress, or they're not the president. They let the president and the Congress know what they need them to do. Yeah. So he says,
to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? To restore democracy.
You can't really hear him. He says, "You're not the president, and you need to go away." It's funny. It's funny. Much better. Elon explains what's going on than Donnie. Denver says Trump is a hood ornament of somebody's Musk, Mossad, Rothschilds, Pax. Yeah, sure. Yes, definitely. The Adelsons, the Apax. Yep. I don't know though. There are interesting things going on, regardless of whether you believe they're real or not. They are interesting things. Seems like somebody posted a video. I should have grabbed it. Everybody's up in arms around this efficiency push and saying like, oh, these are the wrong people to do it. They shouldn't be doing this. This is totally, the Democrats especially are crying over this. But, a lot of people have skepticism around this, not just Democrats. A lot of people are like, oh, the government's going to investigate the government, or an unelected person is going to, investigate. An unelected person getting government contracts is going to go investigate who's getting government contracts. Okay. So skepticism is well-founded. Well-founded, but they're trying to do something, I guess. But in the past, somebody posted a video about like, Bush, Clinton, Gore, Obama. I don't know if Bush was in there. All doing the same thing, saying like we got to clean up the government, and efficiency is, they actually had as part of their platforms, the same thing, the exact same thing. Government efficiency, we're wasting, there's a lot of waste, there's a lot of spending, probably in order to placate the Republicans, right, who are always crying about waste and too much money and where's all the money going, and we should cut spending and funding and spending and funding everything. And so the Democrats, in light of all that, were like, oh yeah, sure, we'll do that, that's a great idea. Did anything ever happen? Not really. Is this going to lead to actual things happening? I don't know. I'm just I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Do I have a lot of faith in it? No. I already told you. I told you these things. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Speaking of, okay, we'll go with this one. Somebody asked me about the contrails. I think in connection with the USAID funding. So I've seen a couple of these posts. USAID funding long tied to black operations was disrupted. Miami and Orlando saw their first natural weather in years, free from artificial interference. Given USAID's history of financing weather modification experiments, the timing is too striking to ignore. I mean, and they're saying, well, maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's tied to that. I don't know. Somebody asked me, have I seen less or more contrails? And I was just saying, I said they've been going ham over the last couple of months, and I didn't notice anything since Trump took office. I didn't notice any lessening of the amount of contrails. Nothing was changing. So I don't know. I honestly, but I will say, and I've told this story a long time ago, like one of the reasons why I believe something not natural is going on in the skies is because of the lack. The first time Trump was elected, right after he was elected, I noticed 3 straight months without any contrails or weirdness going on in the sky. And I was like, okay, I've been witnessing this thing going on every single day for like years. Almost every day, almost a daily occurrence, and almost never never a day without the contrails. So if they're happening all the time, they're happening regularly, and people are like, oh, this is what happens. This is, right? They give you all the particles and ice crystals and blah, 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 right? And they give you all the shim sham on how contrails are made, and like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Sure. Okay. And if they're happening consistently all the time, okay. Yeah, right. It's probably, they're interacting, the weather, they're here. But it was the lack of it's when they disappeared for 3 straight months. I was like, nope, I don't believe that story anymore. Because I was like, well, if they're natural, if the weather, they were interacting with, ice particles or ice crystals, and this thing is happening because this is just a natural occurrence, well, then it wouldn't disappear. Something that's been happening almost every day for years wouldn't just stop on a dime for months, for months at a time, and then come back kind of intermittently every once in a while and then go away for a while. And I was like, this is just no, this is not a natural occurrence. Absolutely not. And there's, you can go ahead and try and, give me your very rational sounding arguments all you want. But like my argument is more rational. Sorry. It is. It just is. Plus there's just too much. There's other things around it. I'm not going to go into it. But anyways, I don't know. Has anybody else noticed a lack? Has anybody noticed a lack of contrails or whatever they call them, whatever the kids are calling them these days. Geoharptioneering. Geoharptioneering. Tell me your experience with it. Let's see. Oh, I'm back. We all coming in here? Everybody getting in here? Everybody getting in this mug? Well, that's true, Caleb. Yeah. Trump seems to be the tail and not the dog. And is in the matter of Israel for sure. Although there's reports that the that maybe the Ukraine war is nearing an end. The chatter is that there might be a deal, that Trump and Putin have been talking. There's also the thing about, continuing the war in order to take their rare earth minerals, which is like one of the most cynical, nasty things I've ever heard. Really, you're gonna keep funding a war if they promise you rare earth minerals? That's just like, oh God. Let me just show you the face of what war is, which is, the end of the video yesterday, war is big business. So make a business deal, give us all your super valuable resources, and sure, we'll send you some more weapons. That is just disgusting. That is disgusting. But there's also chatter that maybe they're going to reach an agreement on stopping the war, which would be a way better outcome. This is Germany's Chancellor Scholz. He's all afraid. He's all hot and bothered about the possibility of a ceasefire, or of a end of the war. He says Germany's leftist Chancellor Scholz, says Disclosed TV, calls on the parliament to impose a state of emergency due to what? The events of the last 24 hours and the statements made by the U.S. government regarding Ukraine. A state of emergency? For why?
Für die Ukraine, die heute wichtig. Der Bundestag sollte schnell.
I don't know German, so. According to Article 115 of the German Basic Law, a state of emergency would allow the state to take on more debt than is permitted by the debt break. So I guess it's an emergency that they need to continue the war. That's weird. I don't know what this is. Where did that come from? That would be a way better outcome if it ended, whatever, and maybe they are going to reach a deal. Obviously, the people that are invested in this are going to be unhappy. The people that have been invested, that told you the whole story about, Russia being super evil and Putin is bad, but actually funding Nazis in Ukraine, the Azov battalion, who wear ISIS patches, funding these kind of people in order well, to get the war going and then to keep it going. It's pretty despicable. That's what Sylvester the cat says. Despicable. Sylvester Stallone does not talk that way. I don't know. This is Maxine Waters saying, I don't know, maybe this means something, maybe it doesn't. She might have. There are people that are like going, oh, the Democrats are scurrying like rats, and the biggest Google search in Washington D.C. is legal help. I don't know. Let's see.
The people of this country are being violated because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk, and
she's worried about privacy. These people are hilarious because it's like, oh, when it's happening, when it's whatever it is they're doing, it's just like the worst, the most despicable thing. But if they're doing it, well, it's totally for national security. Anybody would do that. It makes perfect sense. Come on.
And Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us. We don't know what all they have on us.
That's funny. She might be telling some truth she didn't want to tell either. I don't know. She might have let something slip there. What do they have on us? I wonder. I don't know. There's other reports that, they're, because they've cut funding, they've gotten ahead of somewhat of the propaganda game a little bit. They've cut the legs out of the propaganda game. Maybe. I don't know. Again, we don't know we don't know really what's at the end of the road of all of this. To some people, it looks like, yeah, freedom, yeah, Trump, making America great again. Other people are a little, definitely more skeptical. I shall remain skeptical, personally, because I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I mean, if I see something good happen, I'm gonna, if something positive happens, like the Ukraine war ends, hey, applause, applause earned. If you stop the Ukraine war, kudos where kudos are due. And we'll see. Let's see. RFK Jr. I mean, speaking of kudos, where is he? Where is it? Where'd it go? Dang it. Did I lose this? Shoot. Maybe I did. Hold on one second. Oh, here we go. I did not lose it. RFK Jr. has been confirmed. Tulsi Gabbard was confirmed yesterday. Maybe that's good things, maybe not good things. Again, we don't know what the ultimate outcome will be, but for some people, listen, a lot of people had better feelings about what these folks were saying as opposed to what other folks are saying, or the people that were trying to run, some kind of game on everyone. I saw an interesting post by a guy on Instagram today, somebody I follow, who's kind of a, I don't know what you want to say, kind of a life coach, life guru kind of a person. He's an interesting guy. He has interesting things to say, but he was talking about, you dropped a post today and I was like, oh, wading into politics. But he said, basically, paraphrasing, that Gates was an unelected official who had predicted and bet on a certain worldwide emergency, global emergency, that he profited off of immensely. And then he's like, on the flip side, you have another unelected official, talking about Elon Musk, who was trying to root out corruption. He's like, they're both unelected, not necessarily great, but which one would you rather roll with? It was his words. So some people are happier that there's at least, some truth tellers in the midst, I guess. Again, we don't know the end story of all of this. We can only, I think RFK Jr. being head of HHS, I think that's a good thing. It's a positive. If he doesn't end up, somehow turning around and screwing us over, which could happen, could be likely, but he's not like, he's not dumb. He's not unintelligent. Could he be owned enough to go against his own intelligence and his own altruism in order to do things that are maybe not so good? We'll see. We'll see if he's owned enough. We'll see if Tulsi's owned enough to go against, so far the kind of the ideological bent that she has put forward on the face. She has been an anti-war machine, imperialist kind of, person on the left. And then now she's working in the Trump administration. Is she going to keep that stance? Is she going to keep working on things that make sense and that are better for the people of the country and not better for the bankers and the military contractors of the country? We'll see. Does she have any power to do that? We'll see. Does she have any power to reshape the intelligence community? We'll see. Is she owned, or will she be owned enough to counter her own higher morals or standards in order to do other things? We'll see. But interesting developments for sure. These are better people than the Democrats will ever present to you. Honestly, the Democrats wouldn't, if anybody had any kind of, truthful bone in their body, they make sure that they stay as far away as possible. They don't even let them get even close. Right? They run those people out of the party and out of DC on rails. If anybody's telling the truth about anything, the Democrats, sorry to say, but like, unfortunately, the Democrats seem to be, I don't know, just really very underhanded. And we know that if you just look at if you just look at the things that have happened, you would understand that, it's not hard to. You can't look at what the Democrats have done and think that what they're doing is good in any way, shape, or form. You can't do that without ingesting some of their propaganda, which doesn't make any sense. Some of their like the stuff that, their psychosis, right? The stuff they said about Bernie was a racist, or Bernie is, what a Bernie bros, or Bernie is a Russian asset. Like, you can't you can't actually believe that they're good people without believing a big fat lie, right? That they present to people and hope that people gobble down and go, that tastes good. And then they re-spout this lie, about reality. You can't, whatever. Anyways. And you can think that about Republicans too, I guess. If they just seem to be doing a better job of at least signaling that they give a shit about anything. Even if it's all a lie, they're just doing a better job of messaging, period. Right. If politics is just all messaging, if it's all just like how well can you dupe people, or how well can you, push the idea that you're really on somebody's side, like the Republicans are doing a way better job. The Democrats just absolutely can't stop stepping in their own poop. And they look terrible, like in the things that they were doing in regards to RFK Jr. They look terrible. They look even worse. They just keep on looking more corrupt and, less truthful by the day. Every single day is a new day for the Democrats to look more terrible. They can't even, if they want to actually have a chance of being believably the other party in the country without completely collapsing, they should get it together pretty quickly, because they're starting to look so bad that I don't know that anybody will, they're not going to have a chance to even be a believable contender for anything like in the near future if they keep doing this. Why people still believe them on any level is a wonder to me, but they do. I guess they do. They're like, oh, sure, they're fine. Again, all of that is to say, not an endorsement of Trump on any level. Just saying, if they're all liars, the Republicans are doing a better job of lying to people, and at least letting people know that they're trying to do something about something that people care about, like something, anything. Elon, had a speech. While he was standing there in the White House talking about, the people want certain things to happen, and we're trying to, okay, is coming out of Elon, so you could definitely get your gag reflex going, right? Because he's talking about democracy and what the people want. But man, the messaging is way better, even if you don't believe, even if you're just like, F that guy, and, just the worst person ever, but at least they feign caring a little better. Okay, let's and if any of this comes to fruition, like the end of the Ukraine war or something, and I don't have high hopes, then we'll acknowledge it duly. Have I rambled enough? I think I've rambled enough. If you're mad at me because I'm just not like, fuck Trump, fuck Trump, fuck Trump all day long, I got plenty of fucks for Trump, or no fucks for Trump, but I'm just not going to do the liberal shimmy for anybody. So sorry about that. I'm going to have to do better. Remember when leftists were actually anti-establishment? Real leftists. What was I thinking this morning? Real leftists would hate the Democratic Party more than the Republicans if they were actual lefties, right? But so if you're somebody who spends all your time hating Trump and thinking maybe we could have avoided all this by just electing the Biden-Kamala ticket, well then you don't understand what lefty is. Sorry. Not sorry. That's not lefty. That's just wishful thinking. Or you look like a lefty. And that makes me feel better. But nothing you actually do is left. So, but I'll just ignore all that. I'll ignore all of that stuff. Just as long as you keep on looking like a lefty and talking like a lefty, then that'll make me feel good. All right. Here's, this is why the Democrats look like absolute monsters. This is why they can't get out of their own way. Chuck Schumer, right before RFK was confirmed, saying because RFK wasn't a pharmaceutical or insurance company executive like all of the other HHS leaders before him, that somehow disqualifies him. No, that actually qualifies him. You moron. You absolute moron, Chuck Schumer. Democrats put this stuff forward as if people are going to go, yeah, that makes sense. Totally, dude. No, it doesn't make any sense. You're saying because he's not adequately one of our corporate, birds of prey, he shouldn't be over here. He shouldn't be knocking around with the adults in the room.
Previous HHS secretaries have had a pharmaceutical industry background, have been a state health commissioner, have run health systems, have been governors. Somebody who has had a background in actually administering the programs that HHS administers. I ask my colleagues, which of these qualifications does RFK possess? You know the answer, none of them. Previous
He's
HHS
actually saying this as if
secretaries
this is
have had a
a real
pharmaceutical
argument.
industry background.
I mean, this is how lost. I mean, that's how lost Democrats are. They don't even know how stupid they look. Like they don't even know how dumb they look. They look dumb. They look like ass. They look like just the most corrupt pieces of dookie, if I might use a really adult word. They look terrible. They look terrible. And they don't even understand. They're going out there like, yeah, this is just totally who we are. What's wrong? What did I say? What? No, I mean, what, I don't know. I don't, what's the problem, bro? It's just insane. It's insane. Okay, I'll stop being upset. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, what was the show that used to say that? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, anybody remember? Richest 1% of people now own nearly 45% of all wealth, while 44% of humanity are living below the World Bank poverty line of $6.85 a day per Oxfam. There's a difference there of there's 9% in the middle of that. Am I missing that? No, 11%. Where's the 11% at? Are we an 11%er? Are you an 11%er or not? By the way, if you live in a Western country, well, I guess I don't know about that. This is a bit misleading, but yes, the 1% own most of the wealth on the planet. But if you live in a Western country, you're in the top 10% of wealth in the world, by the way. So doing pretty good. Unless you're living in a RV down by the river, in which case you might be top 12. I don't know. Malcolm Young says most of these powerful politicians have been sat down by one elite or other and shown the future and offered bunker for corruption. Probably, man. I agree with you. Yeah, I'm no friend of anybody in any of these positions of power. There's if I had my way, or if I had my druthers, I would, much prefer, somebody that all of these politicians would consider like radical, like super radical. Bernie at one time was considered like really radical. He's not anymore. So now, Jill Stein is not even all that radical, but she's, radical enough, I guess. But she gets painted as a Russian op all the time. Same way they painted Tulsi as a Russian op. But I would prefer, like if I had my way, Cynthia McKinney run for presidency. If any of you know who Cynthia McKinney is. Who was the guy that opposed, what was his name? He actually had some weird stuff come up in his last election campaign. The guy that ran against Nancy Pelosi in her last election. What was his name? I can't remember. Anyways, they're much more radical people to get behind. People that are, have way better ideas and way better morals, but none of these people that are actually in there have any of those ideals or morals. Though, the Trump administration is certainly doing a good job posing as if they have the morals and the wishes and the wants of the American people in mind. But we'll see if any of that is real or not. Let's see. I've shown a bunch of Ian Carroll videos, but I've also talked about how, there are people that kind of question Ian Carroll, where he came from, and have good questions, good skepticism around Ian Carroll and who he is. I tweet his stuff because some of his work is pretty well put together, and he's saying things that are true. But you do have to wonder about somebody who has so much traction. Like every time somebody gets a lot of traction on the internets, you got to kind of wonder. I think sometimes it's just really hard to get natural, natural virility. It's hard to go viral these days because if they don't like you or what you're saying, it's real easy to turn off the tap like real quick. And if you're telling the truth, and anybody who's in a position of being like a truth teller or a journalist who tells the truth, you face suppression, right? It's pretty obvious that people face suppression. And so what that feels like or what that looks like, or and I don't know. Ian Carroll claims that he faces suppression. People have questions about him. So let's look at this video from Nico House. And he hits some really good points here about Ian Carroll and about some other people. So let's watch this.
Ian Carroll. Now, we all know Trump got those loyalists who, even if they're on the right side of an issue, Trump's recent announcement to finish the ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip might have exposed something a little bit more sinister going on behind the scenes, like this weirdo Ian Carroll. Now, we all know Trump got those loyalists who, even if they're on the right side of an issue at a certain point, will flip the moment Trump takes the opposite side, like what Andrew Tate did here, and then block my boy Nick for calling him out for doing so. Basically, Nick calls him out for being a Trump meat writer because Tate said that he's going to give Trump the benefit of the doubt without any logic, without any context or reason as to why we should give him the benefit of the doubt. And it's even more egregious because Andrew Tate has actually been firmly in the pro-Palestine camp and has called out Israel religiously. Now, Tate is the only Trump supporter that came out of nowhere and all of a sudden flipped his stance on Palestine the moment that Trump came out and said that the U.S. has plans to take over the Gaza Strip. It's like my friend Misty says here, it's like a narrative went out to all the major shill accounts and they're following their order. But I gotta be fair, it's not all MAGA people, because this guy, Ian Smith, was extremely critical of Trump's decision, saying that he's not fucking dying for Israel. Comedian and political pundit Dave Smith comes out and says that he cannot overstate how awful this guy's idea is. And yeah, he voted for Trump too. Bro, even Candace Owens, shortly after Trump made this announcement, retweeted something calling out the Israeli lobby's control over the U.S. government and not tweeting out a single word of support after the announcement was made. So not everybody got the script. But I'll tell you who did. This motherfucker right here,
is all right.
Ian Carroll, a person who many would probably say could contribute his success to his pro-Palestine advocacy over the last year or so. And now I'm going to explain to y'all what I meant at the beginning of the video when I said it seems to be a little bit more nefarious than what people think. Like this is something that might have been planned long before any of us were even thinking about Trump coming in and announcing that we're going to take over Gaza. So after consistently calling out the genocide for a little over a year, Trump announces his plan, and Ian all of a sudden is like, you know what? I think ethnic cleansing is actually okay. He puts out a tweet and even a follow-up video saying that, yeah, man, we should definitely send troops to Gaza because that would stabilize the region. And also, this could have huge economic benefits for the United States. And also, I don't see another solution. How else are we going to stop the violence? Maybe Trump's plan isn't that bad. And I'm going to show you how easily that argument is deconstructed. But first, let's deconstruct Ian. Who the fuck is this man? Ian Carroll, who showed up to Twitter in May of 2023 out of nowhere with zero credentials and somehow amassed 1.1 million followers and is religiously promoted by the algorithm, despite previously being on the pro-Palestine side of the argument. And we know being pro-Palestine generally gets you banned, suspended, or both, not boosted. Who is this Ian Carroll that has 1.7 million TikTok followers in a little bit over a year and has a bunch of impersonators also with damn near tens to hundreds of thousands of followers? Like this man is some well-known academic or researcher that everyone has been aware of for decades. Ian Carroll, who showed up out of nowhere in May of 2023, that ended up going on major podcasts immediately like Danny Jones. The dude gets invited to go on to Fox 11 Los Angeles to talk about the P. Diddy scandal. Dude is so present in the algorithm that he's literally getting reposted by Joe Rogan. The Ian Carroll that started his YouTube channel around the same time he got on Twitter has only 830,000 views and only 33 videos, but somehow amassed almost 100,000 subscribers in that short amount of time with almost no viral videos. In case you were curious, that's not how YouTube math works. Not to mention the dude is transparently opportunistic, like when dude had the opposite RFK Jr. experience, saying that RFK was dead to him after RFK's ridiculous comments supporting genocide in Gaza. And he actually even calls RFK a shill and says that's why people aren't voting for him. Only to turn around in March of 2024 to be like, yeah, actually, Kennedy is democracy. And I say the reverse RFK experience because he's the only pro-Palestine supporter that started supporting RFK after he announced his love for genocide. Like, we don't know who Ian Carroll is politically, and we don't know who he is at all before May of 2023. Go ahead, try it. Tell me anything at all about Ian Carroll. Don't worry, I'll wait. In 2025, one of the most popular political pundits on the internet has zero digital footprint from before he was famous, and that's not suspicious to y'all. He's an op. I mean, bro, if you look at the mustache and the hairdo, the dude looks like CIA Barbie. And not to mention the arguments that he makes now directly contradict the arguments that he made before. And sure, it's very possible that he's just a cloud chaser, an engagement farmer. He's going to say whatever he can to get as many followers as he can. But like Missy said, the script went out and he seems to be following it to a T. David Icke encapsulates it beautifully here. He says that this bloke has never seen a Trump policy he didn't want to support. And so often on the basis of better of two evils, I don't like it, or it's the only way. Who is this guy, and why do the algorithms love him? Y'all know the last time someone came out of nowhere and became extremely popular in a short amount of time despite constantly contradicting his own opinion? This guy, Vaush, the pedo FBI agent. The same Vaush who, like Ukraine, got caught begging for money after the USAID got shut down, because we know what the USAID is used for. Government propaganda. So no, I can't say for sure who Ian Carroll is or what his intentions or motives are. And I think that's probably the problem. I just know the guy arrived right before the elections and right before the genocide started, got popular because of the genocide, and all of a sudden has fallen in love with Trump and has started supporting ethnic cleansing that many people already believe has been in the plans for an extended period of time. And I'm just saying, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, he's a motherfucking op.
So I see myself more as a bridge than an actual journalist. I'm not really an investigative journalist. I'm a journalism communicator. Not really an investigative journalist. I'm a journalism communicator.
Okay. That's pretty good stuff from Nico House. Who knows? I mean, I've mentioned who was it? Was it Truth Stream? Not Truth Stream. Another journalist was kind of calling out, you know, who he was, or trying to ask him about, you know, where he came from on a live on X once. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe he just blew up and everybody's, you know, hating. Everybody's just a bunch of haters. I don't know. Who knows? But I would say Nico House makes some solid points there. So we'll just put that one in the vault for now. Guys, if you like the show, coming to you for free, $99 Monday through Friday, and you want to see the show continue to go forward and keep coming to you, then I need your support. There's lots of ways to support the channel in the description box of whatever platform you're watching on. All the usuals are there: CashApp, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, etc. Patreons, coffees, Ko-Fis, and on and on. Many of you support the show already. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. I do. I really do. Gene Whitworth says, It's hard to see because we're all used to the contemporary methods, but what's so super radical is a departure from the values intended by the authors of the U.S. Constitution. Yeah. It's interesting, you know, Trump trying to reform things through executive decree and, like, you know, a billionaire looking into corrupt spending, a billionaire who receives, you know, if you were following the Constitution, you would take these things to Congress. You would, you know, form, I don't know, maybe this is the only way around it. I'm just playing devil's advocate, but Congress is supposed to have the power of many things, like declaring war, right? Scott Ritter is, you know, or like, you know, taking over Gaza. Like that's supposed to be something that's in the purview of Congress. Are we going to do this, Congress? You know, now it's just like just go around them. Congress is really pretty much like a show dog circus. They rarely do anything real. Scott Ritter has some interesting views on what Trump said about Gaza, that he's applying New York real estate tactics, saying something ridiculous to provoke Jordan, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia to rebuild it. What? Okay. I mean, I don't know. Trump just says all kinds of stuff, you know. Yeah, and as as many of you are pointing out in the chats today, where we are on the timeline of becoming uninhabitable on this planet, might actually, it supports Adam McKay's idea that maybe this is the last spasms of civilization before an extinction event. I don't know. People seem intent on just getting what they can get while the getting's good. Did I cover this part on the atmospheric river? We were talking about the atmospheric river at the beginning of the show. Classic atmospheric river is barreling into California tonight and will be the strongest storm of the entire winter statewide. 4 to 7 feet of snow along the Sierra Nevada crest. Life-threatening flash flooding and mudslides likely on the Eaton and Palisades fire burn scars. Yeah, it is raining. It's raining hard. It's been raining all day. It's raining a lot. So very threatening scenario for people that, for the areas that were burned, that there might be some debris flows. Wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour along the Bay Area coastline. Isolated supercells, a possible tornado in the Central Valley. 5 to 12 inches of rain along the Central Coast Mountains and Santa Cruz Mountains. Waves up to 45 feet. What? Along the Bay Area coastline? Shaka bra. $45 feet. Rare winter storm warning for Redding in the northern Sacramento Valley. Says 1.5 to 6 inches of rain in Southern California. It is really coming down, and it's supposed to just keep on coming all day. So we're going to get a lot of water today. And which is a replay of last winter. We had a very dry end of the year last year, but as the pattern seems to be going, the pattern is that we start getting these atmospheric rivers and they just keep on coming. At least, 3, 4, 5 of them for the last few years. We've had, like I said, last year we had like 15. We had a ton. And it just kept on coming like all through the spring, from like January to, I want to say almost May. We had like just storm after storm after storm after storm. Going south, you met someone? You met a girl? All right, congratulations. That's cool. And maybe, who knows? Maybe this is all, trust the plan, bro. Maybe this is all going to work out. As Q has told us to trust the plan. Don't you worry your pretty little head. Everything's going to work out there. Well, speaking of trusting the plan, we've got a couple more things here to cover. Julian Assange. This is post jail Julian Assange, right? So people have been kind of wondering where he went or what's happening, and I don't know where this is. But he's saying, but he's talking about billionaire Peter Thiel donating $15 million to JD Vance's Senate campaign. Escorted Vance to Mar-a-Lago to patch over his former Never Trump stance. Palantir, which is Peter Thiel's AI company, which used its artificial intelligence technology to target over 150,000 Palestinians, with the majority being innocent women and children. Palantir landed multiple billion-dollar contracts with Israel, including Project Nimbus and Lavender. J.D. Vance on his first day as Donald Trump's running mate, stated America needs to go to war with Iran. Yikes. War with Iran would equate to billions in profits for Peter Thiel and Palantir.
Artificial intelligence is being used to create mass assassinations, where before there was a difference between assassination and warfare. Now the two are conjoined, where many, perhaps the majority of targets in Gaza are bombed as a result of artificial intelligence targeting. The connection between artificial intelligence and surveillance is important. Artificial intelligence needs information to come up with targets or ideas or propaganda. When we're talking about the use of artificial intelligence to conduct mass assassinations, surveillance data from telephones, internet, is key to training those algorithms.
Okay. Here's something interesting. There was a study about the flu. I don't know. Should we hold on? Do we need to leave? Okay, let's leave YouTube for a couple minutes. Where I'm going to talk about two more stories on Rockfin. Hey, Victor Jin. Moving over to Rockfin and Rumble for just like 10 minutes. I gotta be somewhere, so I gotta get going. But YouTubers, we're gonna jump off for a second and then talk about two things, and then I got to go. Hold on one second. All right, YouTube. We'll see you guys. We'll be back tomorrow at the regular time, but see you over on Rockfin or Rumble. Peace to the Middle East.